Okay, now that's awesome. So let's start. So the first thing I want to show you is how to set up. Hey, everyone, I see new people are joining. So today's workshop is about workflow, conversational design workflow rather. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And since we've been talking with more than 200 conversation design teams in the world, I'm really looking forward to show you what we learned and what we built into the product to help you do this. So let me share my screen here, and I'm gonna show you some of the things that you can do. Actually, all of the things that you can do. Okay, so you should be able to see my Botsociety screen. This is my team. So the first thing I wanted to mention in Botsociety, you can have multiple teams. So you can see here, I have a lot of teams that I'm part of, and I also have drafts, and drafts are my personal space. Like the stuff that I put here by default is not shared with anyone. And, if you want, you can share it with single people, but it's not shared with teams. And then you have teams, and you can create new teams by clicking here. So like if you click here, you will start the creation of a new team, and you can invite folks and stuff like that. But and then you will find them here. And then every team is divided in projects. So for example, for the Botsociety presets, let's pick this one, it's actually better. For the Botsociety team, I have the different projects. And so if you click on the team name, then you will see the list of the projects, and you can create new ones. I already have one that I called workshop, so I'm going to use this. Now, the workflow, you can set it up on the project level. And how this works is you can invite people to your team, and by default, they'll be able to see all of the projects that you added to your team. But what you can also do is you see here on the right-hand side, you can also say remove someone from this project specifically, or change their access level so that they can only view, for example. So in this case, I just switched this user here, and now this user only has view capabilities, so they can see the design files, but they cannot edit it. Or you can outright, remove them. And then in that case, they won't be able to even see the designs that are there. So this is already kind of useful to kind of coordinate and split things up. The other thing that I wanted to mention, since I'm here, you can also search across all of your design files. And this search works for, message content and stuff like that, not only design names. And you can also replace. So that's useful. But let's talk about workflow capabilities. Again, if you have questions at any time, I see our hands up, Paul. I don't know if it's up since I asked who's a product manager, or if you have a question. If you have a question, please write in the chat. Or in the Q&A part, and I'll be happy to answer it. Okay, so the settings here, you can see here on the top right, I have different views, so I can switch. I have this square view where every square is a design. It's kind of nice, especially when you have, a bunch of those. And then you have the list view, which looks more like a table. And then we added this new one, which is called Kanban view. So if I click here, you'll see that by default, you have these three stages: in progress, review, and complete. And you can move your design across different stages. So this is kind of intuitive, I hope, but it can get very, very powerful. So if you take a look here on the top right, it says settings. And if you click on settings, now I can customize my workflow stages. And what we've usually seen is that you probably have some sort of process to get your conversation design across, right? You may have, say, okay, this needs to be content reviewed. This needs to be translated. This is still pending, pending legal approval and these kind of things. And so here you can set it up exactly like you want. And so, for example, if I click here now, I'm adding a stage, I'm gonna add, pending, I would say brand team approval, for example. I'm gonna click save. And now you can see here, I have those arrows and I can move them around. So I can say, okay, actually the pending team approval is after review. And also you can change the color. So if you click here on the dot, I'll make this purple. And then, okay, complete, review, in progress. I'm gonna add another one that it's, to do or pending or to do. And I want a color for this. I'm gonna make it, here we go, this color here. And now I want to do to be the top one. So kind of fast, right? So you can set up your workflow exactly like you prefer. And these settings will be applied across your project. So now any type of design that ends up in this project, in this case is called workshop. So if I click on it, I'll see it. Now I can switch to Kanban view here. You'll see that it has all the stages that I just set up in the other view. So very basic, but very powerful because you can really do a lot of different setup here. Another cool thing is that you can subscribe to a stage. So let's say that someone in your team is on the branding team. If you click here on subscribe to this stage, now every time you or a teammate moves a design into this column, you will get an email notification. And this can be very useful, if you have different team members taking care of different workflow stages. They can get notified so that, they immediately know that it's up to them, that they need to do something. And to unsubscribe, you just click again on the bell icon. That's it. And so what you can do is like, okay, you can invite someone to a project here. So if you have a team member, you can just invite them here. So like I could invite, I guess he's already in this team, but let's see. So I just invited Dylan, and then I can tell him like, look, once you sign up, like just subscribe to your stage here and you will get notifications when that happens. So that's very, very useful. Another thing that I can do, and again, I'm mentioning this because I see new people piping in. If you have questions anytime, just raise your hand, and I will allow you to ask a question. Paul, I'm not sure if you have a question because I see you have your hands up, so I'm just gonna put you there. Let's see if you have a question. Let me know. Yeah, so this is the basic Kanban view. Now, again, like you can just move them around like this. This is kind of powerful, and it allows you to structure your work around conversation design file. So for example, if I open this design file here, you can see I have my conversation design. I created this coffee bot design that, allows the users to do a coffee pickup. So, I have a lot of different things going on here, a lot of different paths. And by using this Kanban feature, I'm just moving the old design file across the different stages, which is okay. But you can also be more granular than that. And this is, I think, where it gets really, really interesting. As you probably know, Botsociety has real-time collaboration feature. So if you invite people they'll be able to edit and comment and view in real time what you're doing, just like Google Docs or Figma. Now, another interesting thing that we added is the ability of assigning stages also to paths. So if you don't know, in Botsociety, a path is a group of messages. So for example, this here, it's a path, curbside pickup happy, and it's an experience. And then it's connected to other parts of my conversation design. So let's say that I'm done with this and I just want to have feedback on this. I can just click on the 3 dots here. And you see I have a big menu here. And I can change the stage. So I can say change stage. And you see here I'm finding all the stages that I created in the settings of this here. And this is because this design file, it's in that project. And so it's picking up the project settings. I didn't have to, think about it. It's just doing it. So now I can set this up as to do. Boom. And so now I know that this is, something that is still there. And let's say that this repair path here is actually good to go. So I'm going to click here, change stage. I'm going to put it in review. And now you can also take a look. Let's assign another one. So let's say that this one here, this one, it's in progress. That's what I'm working on at the moment. So now one cool thing that you can do is if you go here on the left-hand side, we have this new icon. So if you're used to Botsociety, you will find this. It's a new icon that says layers. And if you click on it, you have a comprehensive list of your paths. And you can search for it. So let's say I can search all the stuff that has milk in it, all the path names that have milk in the name. In this case, for example, I'm looking at this, right? But you can also see the stage. So for example, I can see this is a to-do. So if I click on there, boom, it's going to bring me there. This is very powerful because it allows you to, you can set up a design and then just set up the stages and then share it with someone. And then in real time, you can work on it and you can coordinate with different things. So let me actually do an example here. If you want to check this out, I can share this in the chat. Is chat allowed? Did I disable the chat by mistake? Let's see. Where should I? So I don't see the chat here. Huh? I've seen it before though. Oh, it's hidden because I'm sharing. Okay. No, it's there. Okay, cool. So I'm sharing this link in the chat. So if you want to check out the design by yourself, you can do it. Okay, so now what I'm doing here is I am assigning these different stages, and you can also do another thing. So like, let's say that I'm actually done with this path. I can just click here, click on change stage and mark it as complete, right? And now I can lock it. So when you click lock, the message is not editable unless someone opens the layers here and unlocks it by clicking on the lock icon again. So it's not like you're password protecting it or stuff like that, like anyone with edit access to your design will still be able to just go in here and click on it, but they have to make the effort and they will see that this is locked. So this is a good way of organizing, sorry about that, of organizing your workflow so that you can coordinate with the rest of the folks there. And in your team, for example. As a reminder, if you want to check who is capable of editing your design, you can always click on the share button here, and you will see, a simple panel that shows you who is able to access your design. So in this case, you can see that it's saying everyone at Botsociety team is the name of my team can access this design, and I can invite other people, right? So I could invite single users to edit or to view, just like you do in Google Docs. Nice. So those are the stages. So just as a recap, you set them up in the settings of the project. So every Botsociety user has one or multiple teams. Every team has projects. You can set up the access level on the project level, edit, view, and so on and so forth. And then in the settings, you can set up the stages. Once the stages are set up, or we provide you with some default ones, then you can move your designs across different stages to coordinate with your team. And you can also assign paths to the stages for a more granular collaboration. So this is the staging feature. Again, very powerful, very intuitive. You can coordinate with bigger teams using it. You don't have to use it, of course. Something else you may have noticed if you're a usual Botsociety user is that we added a comment section here on the left-hand side panel. So if you click on comment here, commenting, comment, you will see the list here. And in the same way that the layers work, if you click on it, we'll focus on that. This make it easier, like if now you have 10 comments by different folks from your team, you can see a list here and you can filter by name, in this case, okay, there's only me writing, so it's filtering only me, but you get the idea. So there is also a very powerful collaboration tool, and view users with view only access can leave comments. So when I click share here, if you switch to can view, and now if you invite someone, they'll be able to see the stages of the different paths and leave comments. So that's another way of collaborating and organizing your workflow there. Cool. So this is the first thing that I wanted to show you, the different workflow stages. Before I move on to the second part, which is even more interesting, is the conversational components. So how to reuse different components across different designs. I just want to talk briefly about that as well. I'm curious, are there any questions? Anything else I can answer from the audience? Feel free to raise your hand, allow you to talk and ask your question. All right. Looks like I was very, very clear. Perfect. So let's move on then. Oh, no, actually, I see a question. What are the components that are available? That's a great question. So let's take a look at it. So what are the components? So here, you can see on the left-hand side, thank you, Rosie, for the question, by the way. Let me answer this live right now. You can see here on the left-hand side, we have the clipboard feature. So if you click on it, you can see that you can see a list, or it could be empty. And in this case, I already have some stuff. And basically, those are the components that you can create. And the idea is you may have, you may want to reuse the same paths across different designs or inside the same design. By the way, Sam, I've seen your question. I'll get to it shortly. It's a very good question. Let me just delete this so that I start from a clean slate and give you a little bit of an idea. So for example, let's say in this design, I have designed a path that asks the user about their coupon code. Like it's asking them, what is your coupon code? And it's making sure that the user is inputting the right coupon code. Okay, so that's something that you may want to, let's see if I can find that part, because I'm not sure if I designed it in this design or another one. I think it was in another one. Oh, let's use this example. So in this example here, this is a coffee bot. And in this coffee bot, you can set up a curbside pickup. You can set up a delivery system. You can, order coffee in different ways. Now, I started to create this path here that is called coffee options. And this path, it's only focused on answering the different questions that a user may have about the different coffee types. And then I want to bring the conversation back every time to, okay, do you want to order or curbside or something like that? I don't want the conversation to die on the answer we offered the following. I always want to bring it back. And so to do that, what I can do is I can create this part as a component and then just reuse it over and over every time I feel like it's needed, and then bring the conversation back every time. And so to do that, I created this path. Now, it can be more complex than this. There's just 2 messages path, but I'm just going to keep it simple for the sake of this workshop. So if you click on the 3 dots here, we open the menu, the path menu again. You will see that I have different options here, and 2 of them are add to personal clipboard and add to team clipboard. So the personal clipboard is only viewable by myself, and the team clipboard is viewable by anybody. And the way that this works is that, let's say I add it to the personal. Now I have it here. And so it's in my clipboard. And if I change this, so let's say, let me do the first step first. So if I want to reuse this, I can go to, say, this other part of my design. Let me navigate a bit. I want to also use it in my book appointments. And so let's say I'm going to click, I want to add it here, next to here. So I'm going to click on add to the design here. And now I can place it. So I'm just going to place it here. And I have my coffee options here. And you see, it's exactly the same. And I can edit it. Like if I want this to be slightly different in this case, I can just edit it. And it's not going to affect anything but this message I just edited. This is useful so that you can keep things tidy. So let's say you have some branding guidelines. This can also be used in that way. Or maybe you have other stuff that you want to reuse across in your projects. So this is personal. For the team, it works in the same way. And of course, the only catch is that this is shared across my team, not only with myself. Now, the cool thing is that if you create a new design, let's do that. And I'm gonna pick your own app or website. It's fine. Okay, so now if I open my personal clipboard, you will see that I can find again the same component. So I can just add it again. Boom. And it is very cool because it allows you to create this library of components for you or your team that you can then reuse over and over and edit. And this allows you not to have to redesign anything twice. And if you click, there's other options here. So if I click on delete, of course, I'm removing this from the clipboard. And if I click on edit, it's going to bring me to the design that originated this clipboard element. And I'll be able to edit it. And if you are on the same design, it's going to focus on that. So it's a very useful feature because it allows you to, re-edit and reuse stuff. So Rosie, I hope I answered your question. Basically, any component is available as long as you design it and you add it to your clipboard. We are considering whether we should offer, kind of like a Botsociety provided components to our users. But we're not sure about that because there's so many different use cases that it's kind of difficult to do that. So we're probably going to create different templates like designs that you can take inspiration from, like this one that we're seeing. And so you can then maybe copy it on your drafts and keep working on it on yourself. That's awesome, Rosie. All right, so this was the first question. Second question by Sam: before you make the flow, do you write it out first? That's a good question. So there's two approaches here. Let me go back to my almost blank design here. So there's two approaches you can take, and it really depends on your project and your attitude and your design thinking. And Botsociety allows you to do both. So there's basically two camps in the conversation design world. You can start eye level, so you can say like, okay, I want the epi path, and then you can say you don't write anything here, but you just click on the you see that there's the link button, so I can just click here, and now I can connect it, create a new path, and just proceed this way with like logical ideas and blocks, right? So like repair path, and then you may have like I don't know, I can have another connection and create a conditional block. The conditional block is like, does the user have an account? And I can say, let me zoom in a little bit, and I can say yes and no. And I can continue just without having to write any message. I can just continue with this like blocks. And the idea is like, okay, I'll mark them as pending or whatever, and I'll, and I will, oh, this is not in the project. So let me move it into the project so that I can continue also with the idea of, so this is the list of my projects. I have a lot because, as you can guess, like I use Botsociety a lot. So just move it to my workshop folder so that it will get my stages once I refresh. So yeah, so just to keep answering Sam, you can take this approach where you just design high level what's happening here, and then say you mark stuff at to do and you go back to it later. Or you can also take the other approach, which is you start with the script first. So instead of starting with the logical map like I've done here, you start with a conversation. So like, hey there, I need help with my coffee or whatever. Not whatever, like this is the example. And you just proceed like this, like you imagine one type of conversation, like a sample dialogue, happy path kind of approach. That's awesome, etc. And then once you have this figured out, then you can start to branch out to different paths, different logical blocks and stuff. Like you can take both approaches. Botsociety allows you to do that, especially because with Botsociety, you don't have to get entangled with intents when you're designing. You can do it later, and the way that you structure your paths, it's not going to affect your intent structure later on. So you're free to design what you want and then add the intent structure later, which is useful because when you're designing, you want to explore and you want to, try different things out. Sam, I hope I answered your question. If not, let me know, ask another question. I'll be happy to follow up. And yeah, feel free to ask other questions either in the Q&A section or I see I get a notification for a question, but no, there's no new ones, right? Okay, nice. Okay, so this was kind of the two different approaches that you can take when designing an overall conversation. And again, like when you're structuring your workflow, we've seen some teams just, structuring this on a high level and then having some stages that say, oh, this is going to be taken care of by team X and team Y. Another thing that we released that you can do that's really cool is that you can change the color of the paths. So let's say that, I want this to be yellow. I can just click on the 3 dots here, click on change color, and then just, I'm going to pick a yellow here. Nice. So this is yellow now. If you make it too light, if you make it too light, it's going to switch to black, I think. You see? If you make it too dark, it's going to go white. So it's very cool. And so why would you want to change the color of the path? Well, it may be useful to coordinate between the team again, right? Like you could say, oh, I'll take care of all the green stuff, or, you can assign green color to all of the paths that pertain to customer support or to a specific area of expertise. And you can use this in a lot of different ways, but if it's very visual, like even when I'm zooming out, like I can immediately tell what are the color, the path that have a custom color. So it's a very, very useful, a little bit more subtle and less structured than using the stages here, but still I think it can be very useful, either used together with stages or just a quick way to set up your design and make coordination easier. Awesome. Okay, so this was path colors. And going back to conversational components, so we've seen how to create this library and share it across the team. The cool thing about this library is that since this, for example, coffee option here, if I click edit, I can see where this originated. So now, if I change the original path here, that it was then added on the clipboard, this is what is going to happen. The changes will not be forced on all the other designs that have been using this component in the past. Those will be left as they are. But future folks that will add this conversational component inside their designs, they will be able to, once they add it, they'll add the latest version that you have here. So this is useful because it allows you to keep this library alive. So it's not only here, it's also editable for future use. Okay, I see there's another question from Amish. Let's answer it. Is there a way to integrate a project created in Botsociety with a live chat app online, or is Botsociety strictly a mapping planning tool? It's a great question. So Botsociety is a conversation design tool. So it is focused on allowing you to map and plan and design, like you mentioned. And you can design and plan different conversational interfaces. That said, we have export features. So if you click here on the build mode, you see this branch here, allows you to switch to build mode. And now I can export to different engines and platforms that allows you to run the bot with a live chat app online, as you mentioned. So for example, like Dialogflow, yes, and CX offer that. Sorry, you can run Rasa on your own servers to run a live chat app, and so on and so forth. We also offer a custom API. So if your engineering team, is coming up with their own solution, they can just leverage that to take your content from Botsociety and bring it to whatever engine they're using to run the bot. So there's this situation that Botsociety is a conversation design tool, kind of like what Figma, is for websites. Awesome. All righty. I've seen. Cool. Great. I don't think there are additional questions for now. Feel free to ask them in the chat. I'm going to just show you another couple of things that you can do, and then I think we're gonna wrap it up unless more questions pipe in. I'm gonna just show you another couple of things just to see if you have more for me in terms of Q&A, and otherwise we'll wrap it up. So one thing that you may have noticed, but you may not have used yet, is the prototype mode. So as I was mentioning before, there's also the build mode. So let me recap. There's three main modalities that you can use Botsociety with. There's the edit mode. Let me close the clipboard here. There's the edit mode. That's the first default one that, when you land on a Botsociety design, you will find. Edit mode allows you to design your conversation. You then have prototype mode, where you can send your design file to testers, have them use it as if it was already built, grab feedback, and improve your design. It's very cool. And then we have build mode. And build mode allows you to deploy your bot to different services, Dialogflow, Rasa, and we're going to integrate Watson and others in the near future. So those are the three main modes. All of the stuff that we've seen today was in the edit mode, which is the main experience that allows you to design. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you noticed this, but if you right-click anywhere, you can now create paths and create conditional blocks too. So that's very handy. And so this is the design mode. With prototype mode, you can try out your bot. So you can, for example, invite testers here, and you can put any email, and they will see the bot as if it was already built. Let me show you what I mean. Oh, I see a question from Reed. Let me just go through this very quickly, and then yeah, let's talk about FAQ bot. Okay, so you see there's kind of like a testing experience. So I can, as a tester, I can pick up the scenario that I want to test. So for example, curbside pickup. And now I'm going to see, the play version of this, like the preview. And I can just type. Let's see. Hi there. Typo. And the bot is going to go on, and I can experience the old bot as if the bot was already made. Of course, the bot does a simulation, like the bot is not built yet. That's the beauty of it. So like you didn't have to define any business logic, connect any API or anything like that to run this test. And I can just pick different options, and then you can continue like this. So this is very useful because it allows you to test your bot out, right? So now let me see what happens if you go back as a designer to your design, you refresh. You can see what the tester has said. Read, this is also relevant for a FAQ bot question. So if you switch to prototype, you can see now two different pieces of data. And if you click on it, you'll be able to review what the tester has said. So this is my typo. This is what the user said here. And so you can use this data to improve your design. If you're interested on this topic, we're on a workshop about this last month. I'm gonna link it in the chat. If you're interested, let me know. You can find it on our YouTube channel. All right, cool. Since we're running a little bit at the end, we're going towards the end of the workshop. I wanted to answer a question from Reed. Reed said, I'm struggling with structuring a bot that can act as an FAQ, answering a wide array of questions. And yeah, so these types of bots, they are, if I understand correctly, Reed, correct me if I'm wrong, like what you need to do is you want to build a bot that has question, answer, and a lot of them, right? So there's one way to design it in Botsociety. I'm not sure if there's a lot of design involved in these cases, because usually you don't have like structured interactions, but that's how I would design them. Let me switch to my almost empty design here. So this is how I would structure it. So I would say, I would right click, I would create a path, and I would say, okay, question 1. And now you need 2 things for every question answer pair. You need what the user says, what is triggering the answer. So it will be something like, hey there, how can I install Discord, for example? And then you would need an answer of some sort. I'm using simple text. You could use a carousel, but that's the idea. So like you can find here more information. And then you could link something, right? Like I would select this, and again, like this would be link. Okay, google.com, you should edit that, but you get the idea. Okay, so it's going to be more structured than this. Now, to make this work, you also need another thing. You need different training phrases so that the bot can distinguish between one question and the other. And so to add them in Botsociety, you have this feature that is called utterances. So if you click here, you can add new, and boom, I'm adding a new training phrase. And so, for example, like, I want to install Discord, for example. And then I can use command parentheses, like this parenthesis here, to create, can you see it? Yeah, to create a new one without leaving the keyboard. So you can add a lot of them very quickly, right? Like this, there's another one. There's another one. There's another one like this. Yeah, so then that's a very good question, Reed. So so now I created my training phrases. Now, if I want to create entities, because sorry, for the guys who are not in chat, Reed asked, and Discord becomes an entity? It can. Let me show you. So if now to mark things are entities and to mark up intents as well, you need to switch to build mode. So I'll switch to build mode, boom. So now I can change the intent name here or create a new one. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call this question, install question probably, right? Yes, I want to assign install question to every message in my path. That makes sense because my path is only composed about this. So now I have assigned my intent. And I can also, like Reid was mentioning, assign an entity. So I'll just select the word that I want to assign an entity for. And then I'll be able to, okay. And then I'll be able to say, this is the software, for example. And now Discord is an entity. And you can see that even when I cycle between the different training phrases, Discord has been marked up everywhere. So I just need to do it once and boom, it just works. So it's very powerful. And it allows you to set things up this way. So now I have my 6 training phrases, I have my answer, and I have my entity set up. So I can proceed to, if I want to export to any tool and or, you know, invite my engineering team to Botsociety to have them export or what I want. Another thing that I was mentioning before is you can also generate training phrases by using the prototype mode. So you could invite testers and ask them to type what they want, and then you would be able to assign this stuff as training phrases. So for example, let me show you. Let's say that, let's actually clean up this design because this design is a lot of other stuff that I created before that I don't want to be here. So let's just delete this stuff. I'm gonna delete this as well. This is all the stuff that I was creating before to kind of like show you the idea of designing without typing anything. But of course, like I don't want those now. Okay, so let's see where I am here. Okay, so this is my design. So now I can just go into prototype mode and I can click on invite testers. I can copy link or test myself. Basically, test yourself shows you the tester experience. So it's the same. And now if I type here and say, hey, can you help me with this code right now? This is gonna proceed in my design, and then that's about it. That's the end of my test. That said, the cool thing is if I go back here and I refresh this page, I will be able to see what the tester said right here. And if I click approve, this will become another training phrase for my design. So if I just click approve, boom, now I have it here. So now I have 7 training phrases. So you can basically use the data that you accrue by sharing this with testers to keep refining your training phrase database. Yeah. So Reid, I hope I answered your questions with this very quick demo. Happy to answer more. Oh, you said nice. That's great. All right. Are there other things, other questions from the community, stuff that I can answer? You know, it does not have to be related to the topics that we've been talking about in this workshop. It could be other stuff. I'll wait, you know, a minute or so. And then I think we can wrap it up. All righty. I think that's it. Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone. This was great. We run these workshops every month. So we still didn't decide the topic of the next workshop. Is probably going to be about animations and new presets, but keep an eye on those. We're also going to have a very interesting meetup on the 27th of April with the conversation design team at Deloitte, which is actually getting bigger and hiring conversation designers. So if you're interested in learning from the Deloitte conversation design team, don't miss it. I'm going to share the link right now in the chat. It's going to be very, very interesting. You know, we're going to have all the conversation design team sharing and taking questions from the audience. So it's going to be very, very interesting. You can find the sign up there. And if you didn't sign up for Botsociety yet, sign up. It's free to start. And you can try out the stuff that we've seen together today. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day or evening or morning, depending where you are in the world. And yeah, see you next month. Bye.